Hey, good morning, Coach. How you doing?
But how you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks. Hey, so I guess just to start off, what are the key things you want to see from your team in these two exhibition games?
Well, we like from a coaching standpoint, you like to see if they've picked up some stuff that we put in from this summer and um, all the work that we put up until this point. We want to see from a defensive standpoint if they pick things up and can carry over in a ball game as well as the offense. We want to see if they are able to execute. So I mean, there are a lot of things that we're looking for come tomorrow at 3 o'clock to see if these guys obtained a lot of the stuff that we've taught.
All right, Alex and Dustin.
Coach, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Just curious how everybody's doing from a health perspective, and also how, just as a coach, from your how you approach exhibition games. Is your goal just to try to, I know obviously it doesn't count for the record, but you're out there trying to mix and match lineups. How do you approach the rotations and how you distribute minutes tomorrow?
Well, right now we're a little banged up. Trace is a little banged up. Tamar Bates has been sidelined for the last couple of practices. We've kind of been going at each other, and it's been a long run from this summer in terms of competing against one another. And so it's time to see where we are against an opponent. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many minutes guys will play. I gotta get a rotation in play before we open up. And so, I'll be using these two games to look at different combinations and just see where we are.
All right, Dustin, then Alec.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to ask you about Malik Renew. What impresses you about in particular, his perimeter game? I mean, it seems like you guys are comfortable with him bringing the ball up off of rebounds and that sort of thing. Just how advanced is he for a kid his age in his ability to play inside and outside? He's
a little ahead of the game, but he's still young, and when I've dealt with young players so much over the years that you got to get young players to understand how hard they have to play. And, Malik's at that point right now. I mean, he plays hard in spurts, and we got to get him consistently playing hard on both ends of the floor. He is a talented kid in terms of being able to do a lot of things for a big guy. Yeah, we do allow him to bring it up along with Race and Trace, because I just think that's the way the game is expanding. I did that in Atlanta and I did it in New York as a coach. If guys had the skill set, you put them in that position. If they rebound the ball and can make, smart plays with the basketball as they bringing it up the floor, then you allow them to do it. So he's shown he can do it, but he still has a long way to go.
Alec, then Tom Brew.
Hi, Coach. Hope you're doing well. We've heard a lot about how the players have really stepped up since this point in last year and kind of the player-led leadership. How have you seen that really progress now moving into year two? And who in particular has really taken that leap over the last couple of months since the season ended to really take that next step?
Well, again, I think it's not just one player. I think all the older guys, X, Miller, and Race and Trace, they're kind of setting the examples of what leadership should be about. You expect that from them. And even though Trace and Race are the captains, X has got to have more of a voice. And I'm kind of pushing him in that area as well as Miller, because, this is their last go around. So I think the fact that they tasted a little success last year in making the tournament has put them in a different light, and they're trying to do all the things that's asked of them to do.
Then Mike Schumann.
Good morning, Mike. Hey, are there any one or two things that stand out for you and just in what you've kind of seen and learned in the last month or so that maybe has surprised you or has made you feel better than maybe you thought you would have a month or so ago?
Well, I just think the fact that the young guys are competitive. I mean, the quicker they can pick up things, the better off we're going to be as a team because, I'm going to need them to play some. And, I'm constantly on them about being a sponge and really trying to learn what we're trying to, teach. And, but I like the fact that they're competitive. I mean, at that first couple of weeks that we had gotten together as a team, the first unit kind of had their way and it's been back and forth ever since, I mean, and from a coaching standpoint, that's kind of nice to see because I don't like it to be one way. I want, if we got a second unit, I want that second unit to have a chance and do what's expected of them to compete and win games against the first unit. And they've done that.
Mike then Tyler.
Yeah. Hey, coach. Well, at the end of last year, you said that, wing defense was a real priority, getting that improved over the course of the offseason. I'm curious how you feel like that has come along during the offseason. Who's standing out in that regard? And do you anticipate doing anything different in terms of how you cover ball screens or things like that?
I thought we were really good in ball screens last year. We didn't get burned a lot in ball screens. We got to get better in terms of how we get into the ball on ball screens and making sure that everybody's in play from a help standpoint when there's a breakdown. Ball screens are the toughest things to guard. I don't care what level you're playing at because the guy who's setting the screen has the advantage. He gets the advantage to knock the guy who's guarding the ball off. So now you're in a catch-up position. And, the officials are not calling that. So you can't sit there and beg for help. You got to get into the ball and be a little more physical. And that's what we've been trying to stress. The easy way out is to switch and make sure you got a body on a body. But I don't like doing that a lot with my five man. And most fives in college are in ball screens. You can get away with it with the four guys. It's not a big four, but I think the fact that we're longer this year than we were last year, adding the freshmen, and we're a little more athletic than we were last year, adding those freshmen. Hopefully we can make up some ground and be rangy and long and be able to do things better from a defensive standpoint, which we weren't that bad last year defensively.
Tyler then Jack.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Has there been one specific player or a few that I guess have been kind of a pleasant surprise in their development and what they've been doing on the court as we get ready for games to start?
Well, I think Tamar Bates, he's starting to figure it out. And that's kind of nice to see because he just had a lot of things going against him last season. And I wouldn't call it going against him. He had a baby, and that's a major, major responsibility for an 18, 19-year-old kid. So, I think he's figured that part of it out. He's comfortable in his own skin and where he is with that. And he's come back this year with a whole different attitude, which is kind of nice. I mean, you see it in his body where he's developed his body and he's benefiting from. We're benefiting from. He's playing better. So, he's been a nice surprise. And then the freshmen, like I said, you never know what you get. You draft freshmen that come in based on how they performed in high school, but this is another level. High school and college basketball is a major jump. Just like jumping from college to the pros, it's a major jump. So you don't know what you really got until you put them on the floor and you start competing. And, I just like the way these freshmen, they really compete. I mean, that's been probably the most surprise because they're competitive.
All right, Jack then Zion.
Hey, Coach. Jordan has talked to us about playing more of the three in practice lately. I guess from your perspective, what has been that process like trying to expand his game a little bit more onto the perimeter?
I don't have a three. I have basketball players. See, that meant for having the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I just got players, and my thing is when you get minutes, you make the most of it. May it be if you guys want to call it the 4-3-2, whatever, I don't look at it in that regard. I put 5 guys on the floor to play, and hey, you got to, whatever spot you in, you got to make the most of it. That's kind of how I look at it.
All right, Zion and then Haley.
Yeah, Mike, more on tomorrow. Do you expect Trace Jackson Davis and tomorrow to play tomorrow? And how many players do you anticipate touching the floor?
Don't know yet. I'll know that today once I get to practice and get an injury update and see how guys are doing. I'll have to face that on game decision because I just don't know at this point.
All right, Haley, then Mason Williams.
Hey, Coach, second year as a college head coach. I'm curious if you've approached this year differently than you did last year, having a year of experience under your belt.
No, I mean, I go into any season with the same attitude to win. And, the way we ended last season, it left a nasty taste in my mouth because, I know our team was better, and I'm not taking anything away from St. Mary's. They were great. They played an unbelievable ball game, and we didn't show up, and I don't like that, So I know we got to be better as we start this season, and as we go into the Big Ten. We were really a shot away. Up 9 with 4.5 minutes to go. I got to get them over the hump in that Iowa game. Those are the things I look at. We got to win that ball game to go to the Big Ten finals to try to win a Big Ten tournament, and we didn't get it done. So at the end of the day, we still got a lot of work to do. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's my only approach when I start a season.
Mason.
Coach, I guess I'm kind of just curious with your own personal growth. How have you seen your own coaching style evolve in the first few practices here compared to your first few practices last year?
Well, again, a lot of guys didn't know who I was last year. I was new, they were new. And, the fact that we got a big part of our team back adding in the freshmen, these guys they kind of know who I am from a offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. So we just got to go out and play the game and see how it plays out. I'm just kind of anxious to get to a game and just see where we are.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
That it?
That's it.
All right, guys. Enjoy your day.